get a bite?
Ah yes, what can possibly go wrong?
Now!
Ah, fishing, of course.
Gamer Braves.
What's up everyone, it's Ben from Gamer Braves and I've sunk over 40 hours in Rune Factory 5. While I may have failed in life, I succeeded in becoming a contributing member of society in the game. The Rune Factory games have always been the perfect union between RPG shenanigans and farming sim. If you ever played Stardew Valley or Harvest Moon and thought to yourself, maybe a little genocide would be nice, then Rune Factory is for you. Fans, including myself, have been waiting for a new Rune Factory game for over a decade since Rune Factory 4. And needless to say, the hype is real. Rune Factory 5 puts you in the shoes of an amnesiac main character. It doesn't really matter whether you play as a guy or a girl, they're a complete blank slate. Whether you want to be a nice person and help everyone out, or be a prick who goes around poisoning your neighbors, it's totally up to you. The game doesn't punish you for never leaving your room and sleeping every day for the whole year. While it isn't exactly a sandbox, it's completely up to you whether you want to progress with the story or take on the hundreds of other stuff available in the game. If you do decide to leave your room, you'll find yourself in the sleepy town of Rickbarth. Rune Factory veterans will feel right at home, especially when they meet their neighbors. You have the standard oversized dwarf, guy with the oversized mouth, and girl with the oversized sleeping disorder. A new species of NPC introduced in Rune Factory 5 are were animals. Since everyone was so head over heels for Foxboy Leong in the previous game, Rune Factory 5 now has fox boys and fox girls. It's pretty obvious which community developer Marvelous Inc. is trying to cater to, especially since Fuka is just one syllable away from furry.
Get the hammer and nails.
If you're new to Rune Factory 5, don't come with the expectation of super complex or extremely well-written characters. Personality-wise, they're more akin to what you find in Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley. They're here to create a charming and wholesome experience, which I believe they have succeeded in doing so. You get to unlock more villages in Rickbarth and a bunch of other stuff as you progress through the game's story. You play as a ranger in the organization Seed. It's called Seed, but you'll be doing a lot more than just planting. Progressing the story typically involves you going to a new dungeon, killing the boss there, then talking to NPCs. Just like the characters, the game's story isn't anything mind-boggling or revolutionary, and that's okay. That's because the main appeal of Rune Factory 5 is everything outside the story. There's just so much to do in the game. Farming, crafting, fishing, taming monsters, interior designing your house. There are a lot of ways to make money and to make you and the residents of Rickbarth happy. Almost every single activity in the game has a skill for it. Leveling up these skills give various stat boosts and also opens new features for it. Leveling up cooking will allow you to take on harder recipes, while increasing your axe skill will unlock new attacks, for example. Seeing that skill up notification appear is how the game hooks you in and never lets you go. It's addicting when almost every little thing you do in the game triggers a level up. I say almost because dying isn't one of them, and I happen to be very good at it. Yeah, I killed myself more from overworking my character than actually fighting monsters. Speaking of monsters, combat feels like a step up from previous Rune Factory games thanks to the 3D perspective of the game's camera. Instead of being limited to the top-down view of older titles, the fully 3D world offers the game a lot more in terms of movement. Enemies and their attacks don't take up half the whole screen anymore, and it's easier to dodge and move around, which is great. Combat itself is pretty straightforward. Don't go into the game thinking that it has Devil May Cry kind of gameplay though. 90% of the time, you'll just be mashing the B button to hit enemies and moving the left joystick to reposition. A new feature when it comes to monsters are wanted monsters. These are basically souped up versions of existing monsters that have a bounty to them. You're not supposed to kill them. Instead, you have to use the new Spell Seal ability, a new mechanic added in Rune Factory 5 to catch them. I'm also really grateful for the bunch of quality of life improvements that made their way to the game. Being able to swap between weapon and farming tool without opening a menu is huge. Having the option to drop all your lumber and stone into the box at once is convenient. Above all else, there is fast travel now, and you can teleport from your bedroom to the bathhouse if you're as lazy as me. There's a lot to love about Rune Factory 5, but my favorite has to be the romance. For the first time ever in the series, same-sex marriage is allowed. This is a fantastic improvement gameplay-wise, since we don't need to start a new playthrough as a different gender just to experience the various romantic relationships. Now, nobody is safe from my lonely, attention-seeking amnesiac in his quest for love. Except Elshay. It's a shame we can't romance the best girl in the game. For those who are planning a gay or lesbian playthrough, fret not, because you too can have children in the game. Not one, not two, but up to 3 children can be raised by you and your spouse. This is more than any other Rune Factory game to date. And what's not to love about bringing your children to a casual outing in the volcano as you kill everything? Despite all this rabid praise I have for the game, there are some issues with Rune Factory 5, chief amongst which is the long load times. It can take anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds when you're loading into a new map. It's not too bad, but it's very noticeable. The long loading screens really cut down my excitement at times. Even if you don't mind the load times, the game's poor frame rate is another annoying problem. The frame rate is lowered down to a snail's pace whenever you enter or leave a building. The FPS can get so bad, even the sound effects will be heard a few seconds later. While the frame rate drops is most obvious when you've loaded into a map, even at its best, the frame rate struggles to reach a consistent 30 FPS. It's a shame, really. The Switch could run more demanding games smoother, and I don't know why Rune Factory 5 is so poorly optimized. There's also the graphics. While they're not ugly, for a game released in 2022, it does feel outdated. Textures can get a bit rough at times, and outside environments can be pretty bland while missing quite a bit of details. Despite these shortcomings, Rune Factory 5 is a blast to play. The game is downright addicting. I was constantly telling myself I'll stop after this in-game day. That was a big fat lie. Rune Factory 5 gets an 8 out of 10 from us. The sheer amount of content coupled with the addictive gameplay loop makes Rune Factory 5 very hard to put down. Whether you're a fan of the series or someone whose only goal is to create babies and turn them into cold-hearted killers, Rune Factory 5 has got you covered. Well, that's about it from us. Let us know who you plan to romance in the game. And why is the answer Reinhardt? See ya!
Hey there! Thank you so much for watching our videos. Don't forget to give us a subscribe if you'd like to see more, and like so we know what kind of content you want to see. Got suggestions for new content? Let us know in the comments below too. Thank you so much again for watching. Take care, dudes.